So I don't know how much detail I want to go into because I don't want to out this person. Like, she's already having so many problems with her neighbor. I don't want that situation to get worse, but I really feel strongly that I need to talk about this. So here I am. Hello friends, welcome to Chickenlandia. My name is Dahlia. I'm a backyard chicken educator, also known as the president of Chickenlandia. Raising chickens has been the best way for me to find peace and joy in my life, and I want to help you find that too. This is Melon. Can you say hi, Melon? Say hi. You're a good little girl. You're a good little girl. You're a little bit scared right now, aren't you? It's okay, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'll put you down. So a few weeks ago, a friend of mine messaged me, and this is somebody who I know has had chickens for, I think, a couple years. And I remember when she first got her chickens, she was so excited, and she was like literally posting about them every single day, asking questions, asking me questions. And this is not someone that just like on a whim decided, oh, I'm just gonna get chickens and they don't know what they're doing. This is somebody that researched and really wanted to give the best to their birds. I know that for a fact because I've watched how she has loved them and cared for them from the beginning. What in the world? Tiny little army. So anyway, my friend messaged me and she was like, you know, I have this neighbor who I thought really loved my chickens. And, you know, she had been over and she had seen my chickens and we had talked and I thought we were on really good terms. And it turns out that she is very much not happy with my chickens being where they are. Now, this is her next door neighbor, and I guess she feels like my friend's chickens are not being cared for properly. And my friend did admit to me, she said, look, you know, I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, and there's a little bit of mud in my chicken run. She's in the city. She doesn't have like a bunch of places where she can let her chickens out. She's got this one area for her chickens, and within that area, after the first rain happened, which is always a surprise, even though we're in the Pacific Northwest, you know, we go through the summer and it's nice and dry and we get used to it, and then all of a sudden there's like the rain starting, and then it gets worse and worse and it rains a lot here. So when the first rain happened, she did end up with some mud in the chicken yard, and you know, mud in the chicken yard isn't great. It's not a good situation. It was a little bit stinky, and so my friend told me, like, look, I do have this situation and I feel really bad about it, and I can't believe I've let it get this far. And I was like, well, can you like show me a picture, or maybe I'll come by? So that's what I did, actually. I decided to just go by there and see it for myself, and also, you know, just offer my friend some support because, like I said, she's somebody that really, really loves her chickens, and she was feeling very guilty about the supposed situation that they were in that was like supposedly really bad. She was also just kind of shocked that her neighbor went to her landlord and complained about it because the neighbor had never said anything to her about it personally up until that point. So I got in my car and I drove over there. So before I go any further, I just want to say, you know, mud in the chicken yard is not an uncommon problem when it comes to backyard chickens. Definitely in the city, when people are dealing with less areas where they can put their chickens within their yard, sometimes they don't have a choice about where they're going to keep their chickens, and it might be an area where the drainage isn't that great, and they might actually not realize that the drainage is not that great until after the first few seasons with their chickens in that area. So that can be surprising to people. I always say, before you place your chicken run somewhere, try and find the place with the best drainage. That is really important, because even if it doesn't get muddy initially, once you've had chickens in an area for a period of time, those chickens are going to create erosion. That's what chickens do. They constantly peck and scratch, and they can change the way the environment is, and it can end up really muddy with holes and stuff like that. But a lot of times people have smaller backyards. They don't have a lot of choice. And I always say, I'd rather see people keeping chickens in their backyard in the city, then I'd want to see them in a factory farm. So I am 100% pro people keeping chickens in the city. We just need to come together and come up with solutions for problems like these. So I went out to my friend's place, and I will tell you, I do have footage of her backyard, of her chickens, and I have decided that I'm not going to show that footage. And the reason why I'm not showing that footage is because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I just don't want my friend to have additional problems with this neighbor any more than she already has. I do have a shot, I think, of her holding one of her chickens that illustrates how much she loves her chickens, and that is all I am going to show. But I will tell you, I got there expecting to see some bad situation. And I have seen bad situations. I'm no stranger to that. I got there, and what I saw were happy chickens living in an area that is definitely big enough for them. Is it this? No, it's not. But it is definitely at least, maybe even more, 10 square feet per standard size chicken that she has, which is the recommendation. And for some people, that's not enough. Of course, if you can give them more, give them more. But a lot of people are like, well, that's not enough. And I will say to them, always, think about the alternative. Would you rather see more chickens living in a space where they can't even turn around? That's what happens. Like, the more times we put up roadblocks for people to be able to have chickens, the more chickens will end up in a factory farm. We need to undo that. We need to work on how we can open the door for more people to have chickens and help people with the issues that come up. We need to acknowledge that not every situation is going to be perfect. Even my situation, I have this big yard and the chickens are in I think it's 3,000 square feet. This is huge, but it's not acres of land that they're out on pasture, and probably I have more issues because they're on the same land year after year. That's just something that is true. So it's not the ideal situation, but I'll always say, the ideal situation for me is if I lived in Hawaii, and I don't live in Hawaii, so I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good. So I make do with what I have. And I think people just need to understand that not every situation is going to be ideal, but if that chicken is not in a factory farm, I'm okay with it. So the other thing I noticed is that it didn't smell. The area did not smell. I mean, maybe if I went in there and was really kind of putting my nose up to it, but it didn't smell. The chickens had enough space. They had enough enrichment. She had created these things for them. They had the dust bath. When I got there, she was bringing out this big basket of leafy greens and other vegetables for them to eat. I mean, it was definitely not what I expected to see. These chickens are well cared for chickens. And she told me a few days later, after I went and visited her, my neighbor called animal control. And now I don't know what's going to happen. So before I tell you what happened, I'm going to tell you this. There is a world I know all of us are dreaming of. And in this world, we have taken care of our environment. It's beautiful. There's nature all around us. It's a more promising future for our children. And I think that's a beautiful dream. And I hope that we get there. But I will tell you that we will not get to that dream with animals in factory farms. And I will also tell you that we can't get out of this situation with all these animals in factory farms and all the damage that does to the environment without making some sacrifices. So are you going to see chickens in your neighborhood and maybe you're worried that that's bringing down the property value? Yeah. And are you going to hear a rooster sometimes? Yeah. But these are the sacrifices that we make for the future that we want our children to have. And if we really want that, we've got to let some of this stuff go. And it's just these ideas that are in our minds that, chickens are low class, chickens are dirty, chickens bring rats. None of that stuff needs to be true. I think that anyone that has chickens is very high class, no matter what your income level is, okay? Anyway, concerning my friend, animal control did come. And you know what? They looked at her area and they said, "This is fine. This looks great." The animal control officer said, I'll look more into it, but I think you're fine. So I am like behind my friend. I told her, I was like, I got your back. You know, if you end up with any more trouble, I will go to City Hall or whatever I need to do to help you. I'm glad that it turned out okay, and I'm glad that now she knows that she's doing okay, and she doesn't need to feel guilty or feel stressed out because she's taking really good care of her chickens, and those chickens are really lucky to have her. What's your experience like with your chickens? Have you had any bad neighbor experiences? I hope not. If you have, let me know in the comments. You can also let me know about all the good neighbors that you have. I will tell you, my neighbors are saints. They are saints because they put up with Walter and she's loud. Anyway, let me know in the comments how your situation is going. But above all, I want you to remember that you are always welcome in Chickenlandia. Bye.